one of my very first followers. And then when you followed me and I, followed back, I was like, this dude is cool. Like,
if they say talk to your manager, you just say, you know what, talk to the hand. You don't need to be on my podcast. But yeah, dude. Yeah, you do a great job.
Thank you. I always get a kick out of talking with you on Patreon. You have a really good, view on everything.
That wasn't planned.
You know what? But I like this Canadian.
Well,
I like this one.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
What's up? What's up, y'all? This is probably going to be a quick one. Shout out to Retro. I just hopped on at the end of her recap show, and I'm just hopping on to mine. Wednesdays. Unfortunately, on Wednesdays, I can't really catch the whole episode because I don't get home until like not that long before it ends. I did see I saw like visually some of the first half, but I wasn't hearing it. I saw like maybe a good chunk of the second half of the episode, but I'm gonna catch all that tomorrow. Y'all can fill me in on the parts that I didn't see. But what's up, Miss Nappy Kid? You're welcome always. I was just gonna, I popped on for the last maybe 10 to 15 minutes and listened, and then I was like, all right, good night. And she's like, you can't do this, you gotta hop on. So I hopped on there. This episode showed Hisam's power trip. Okay, so from what I understand, which we already knew, Jared finished second in the veto competition, in the HOH competition. He finished second because he picked the first door that he thought that it was, but he picked the wrong door. What's up, Bill? What's up? He picked the wrong door, and therefore Hisam won by default, which is amazing that he was on that kind of power trip when he didn't even win because he just beat out Jared. So Jared in second place, he went to the Nether region. We still don't know about this mysterious Nether region that they keep going to. So when Jared spoke to everybody from the Nether region, which again we already saw in the lives. So when Jared came back, they said that he had the power to send somebody to the Nether region, and the person that he sent to the Nether region would be safe from getting eliminated this week, safe from getting evicted this week. I say eliminated because I'm so used to the challenge terminology. So it was a big choice. He consulted with Hisam. He consulted with his mom. His mom ultimately is the main person. I know who makes a difference in who he was going to choose. So he ended up choosing Jag. I tend to feel like the reason that he chose Jag was for the sake of personal relations, because Jag doesn't really 100% trust him or anything like that. I still think even after selecting Jag, he doesn't 100% trust him, but I think that it was for the purposes of building a trust in Jag, because I think that they see Jag as the leader of that side of the house. They used to think of Riley as the leader, but obviously she could potentially go home tomorrow, and she's not in that power position anymore. So then Jag goes to the Nether region. Hisam wins HOH and solidifies that he's going to keep the noms the same. When Jag comes back, it also meant that Jag couldn't play the veto competition. So when Jag comes back from the Nether region, he has a choice to make as well for somebody to send to the Nether region. the person that he sends to the nether region can't play in the veto, and the person that he ends up choosing is Bowie. And you said someone was talking down to others. Oh, that's what Retro was saying, and that was well, I was saying that too, but they saw more of the episode, and Retro and Justin were saying that Hisam was talking down to others. I did see the half of the episode that I did see. It was a lot of Hisam on his high horse, like he is drunk off of that HOH power, and then winning the veto added to it. So the conversations that he was having with people were in a very condescending and a very threatening tone. If you don't know what the nether regions are, you missed all the episodes, because I'm pretty sure the nether regions was introduced in episode 1. Because if you watched episode 1, if you remember Corey in that competition where they were holding on and he got dragged into that random hole, they called that the nether region. They called that the nether region. By the way, I'm going to throw out my StreamYard link if any of y'all want to hop on here too. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, so if you watch the first 2 episodes, then you remember when Corey got pulled in that first episode, right? So where he got pulled to is the nether region. But they have been continuing this twist, which is a little annoying to me because they're not explaining what it is. They're not explaining what it is or where it is, and they're probably telling the people who get pulled in there that they can't talk about it, because they're trying to keep this thing as a mystery. They still haven't showed it. They just showed, when I talked about Jared, they showed Jared on a screen. And they also showed Jag on the screen talking to them via video. Sounds like Kylan. Yeah, a lot of people on Twitter have actually been comparing Hisam to Kylan. They're saying his HOH conversations with them are very similar to like Kylan, and I can see the comparison. When I interviewed Hannah, I mentioned that to her, and she said she could see the comparison. They need to stop with this nether crap. Yeah, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, unless you're going to tell us what it is, where it is, how long you're going to have it, it's not, I don't know, it doesn't move me is what I'm trying to say. I remember when Kylan was talking down to Brittany. Yeah, and I also remember there were times when he was talking down to, I remember like during the last 5 or 6, or like when it got down to the cookout group, he was basically talking to Azza and Big D and saying that they didn't do anything to get there. And while I will say, competition-wise, they didn't do a whole lot to get there, it still wasn't necessary to say that. Like, he was talking to them like he feels like he's better than them because he's capable of winning competitions and they were not. It sounds like I'm watching a Nickelodeon show. I feel like it's one of those things.
Hey, what's up? You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
What's
You see, I haven't watched it since the 2nd episode because I initially was planning to, and then I end up, I saw the post from your channel that showed who got nominated. Then I'm like, all right, I'll just skip this episode. I just watched it because the post came up on YouTube from your channel. So I'm like, all right, I'll just skip this episode and then I'll just watch the veto episode to see what happens. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I completely forgot that the veto episode was actually on.
Oh, you did?
Hi, Nappy. Hey, Leslie. Yeah, I completely forgot that the episode was on tonight. And then I was like,
Okay.
oh crap, the episode was on. And I just checked to see like if Retro posted anything because she hasn't been on in a while.
Yeah.
And then that's when I seen she was live. I'm like, oh crap, she was live.
Yeah, I missed the majority of her live, but I caught the end of it.
Okay, yeah. You see, I didn't know she went live until maybe a few minutes before you came on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was watching something else, and then I was like, let me just check to see if maybe she posted anything. Because I just remembered there was an episode tonight. I'm like, oh crap, there's an episode tonight. Let me see if she posted anything, and then I see that she's live. So you say this guy Heisem has been drunk with power, right?
He has definitely been drunk with power, 100%.
This sounds like season 2 all over again. Because no, there was a dude on season 2 where he ran that. There was 2 people that season that ran that house.
Oh,
It was
really?
like, yeah, it was one of those things where the 2 of them won more than half the HOHs that year. Just the 2 of them
Oh, wow.
dominated that season. That's the season with Dr. Will.
I have
And they-
not seen season 2.
Oh, you have to watch that. That's one of the top 3 greatest seasons, top 5 for sure, of all times.
Nice.
You could easily say top 3. Without
so
question.
Dr. Will and who else was running that season?
No, Dr. Will actually really didn't even run that season. It was just, he was just entertaining as hell.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
It was these other 2 people who he despised, his 2 biggest enemies, were the ones running the season.
Okay.
But he was in the background because what happened was with him was he was really supposed to go home like week 2 or 3 because he was so hated.
Mhm.
So what happened was, I don't remember like who he was nominated against. He just came up and said, hey, he went up to somebody like, you realize you could, because he's the first person to really strategize in the game. Nobody else was real. Everybody was just like trying to figure things out. He's the first person to truly strategize. So he went up to somebody, was like, you realize you could get me out at any time. I'm so hated, because he was the most hated person in the house. He was like, you can get me out at any time. Why not take out a big threat and you can get me out next week? So they thought about it. It was like, you know what? You make sense. It worked. Very next week, he gets nominated. He tries the same BS line again. I'm like, there's no way this BS is going to work. It worked. And then I'm like, it was obvious at that point he was going to get dragged to finals. Because he kept throwing everything. He's the first person to start that whole throwing comps. He threw everything.
Wow.
His whole strategy was, I'm not winning nothing.
So they're like, this guy's not a threat, so we don't have to get him out.
Yeah, so nobody knew that he was throwing it. Everybody just felt he just sucked. But he was playing throwing every one of them. Because he said if you came close to winning it or you won it, you got evicted the very next week, which was the case. If you came close to even winning a comp, you got eliminated that week or the very next week. And then that's how he basically survived and got to the end and won, because the jury hated the other chick because she was drunk with power.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's basically how he won.
I don't think Heisem is going to make it that far. I don't think so.
So he doesn't have a partner in crime, because the guy had a partner in crime. It was a guy and a girl. So he had a partner in crime. So if one of them had power, the other one had it.
That wasn't the one with the mother and son?
No. There wasn't a mother and son and Big Brother. There was a father and daughter. That's Evil Dead.
Father and daughter. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah, that's season 8.
Oh,
Was the father and daughter. But they've had a twist where they had twins on the show.
I saw that one. If you're talking about Liz and the other one, the 2 blondes.
No, there's another one. Season 5 they did it in. Yes. Yes, they had it where one girl had a mole, but the other one didn't. And nobody recognized it. They would go in the DR.
Really?
And that's when they would do this. Yes, there was a twist where they did it in season 5 where they had twins. I just can't remember.
One didn't, and nobody realized that.
Nobody realized. I think they would put their hair to hide it, I think.
Wow.
And yeah, they did. Yeah, they did it. I think it was season 4 or 5. I believe. No. No, it was definitely 5. It was definitely 5 for sure. 5, they had that twist with the twins. So it wasn't the first time they did it. That was the first time they did it was season 5. But was when they did that in.
Wow.
Yeah, that's actually the first season anybody ever had sex too, by the way. on BB.
Really?
First time.
What did they do the rest of the seasons? They were just really stayed off of each other.
Nobody ever had sex. You maybe had a showmance, or maybe you had a showmance in season 2 with Dr. Will, but
Rock said,
nobody didn't have sex.
Natalie and Adria season 5.
Yeah. Natalie. What was the other chick's name?
Adria?
Yeah, I forget. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember the names. Yeah, Natalie and Adria. Thanks, DM. I couldn't remember their names, but the Natalie name more sounds familiar. But yeah, they did that twist back then.
Wow.
That's the first time they did that twist.
Oh,
I
that's
forgot
the
what
name
week.
of the twins.
Yeah, I forgot what week they actually revealed and they came in as one, but I think they did it like right before
Was it the
jury, I
same
think.
thing where it was like if you last a certain amount of time without being
Yeah.
figured out, you both get in the house?
Yeah,
Okay.
they did that. I forgot how many weeks they had to last.
So it was similar.
Yeah.
Like the rules of it were similar.
Yeah. All they had to do was just last a certain amount of time. I just can't remember how long it was though. But that's definitely season 5 for sure.
So the one where the father and daughter
That's 8.
were in there.
Evil Dick and Danielle. That's season 8.
What was that like?
The twist for that season was you had 3 people in the house where it was they had a previous relationship to people that were already in the house. But they only in that season they let like I think it's like let's just say it's 15 people. They let like 12 people in the house, and you're like, hold up. Actually, I mean not 10. They only had like 9 or so people, and you're like, hold up, they're short a couple people.
Mhm.
And then other 3 people, which was Evil Dick. You had the girl who got eliminated first. She had her best friend there, her former best friend. And then the other relationship was the boyfriend of a girl, was the ex-boyfriend. So what ended up happening was they couldn't compete. Evil Dick couldn't compete in the first HOH, but they weren't allowed to be nominated though. I remember was the twist. And then the game just played as normal, but they just couldn't be nominated week 1.
I see.
Because they weren't allowed to compete in the. They were actually in the HOH room when everybody was downstairs. And then when they seen them, they first revealed them was on the screen, from what I remember. And then you see the looks in their faces like, you got to be kidding me. Because back then, the application process was different because I've tried out for the show back then. So they used to ask, they asked you, because I think I was eligible to first go on the show. I think it was season 5 or 6. I think was the first season, but I think first season I truly tried out for was 8. And then I remember on the application it was like either page 2 or 3, because it was over a dozen pages you have to fill out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I remember literally downloading the application before I went, and I did it for my neighbor's house. I could tell my neighbor was pissed because of all the ink that was being used, because it said page 1 of like 15 or something.
Yeah.
And one of the questions they would ask you is, what's your relationship like with your father? What's your relationship like with your mother? So
Really?
that's probably how they got Evil Dick on the show. I'm assuming that's how they got him. He had to have been a recruit.
Wow.
Because for them to put him on, that had to have been how they got it. Was she probably put, I don't talk to him. And that's probably because they will act, they don't ask you that now. When you apply, like if you go to a casting call or something, they won't ask you that on the application. It's just a simple, basic, question, name, address, phone number, email. That's it. But back then, the process was different.
Wow.
And they would ask you what's your relationship like with your parents. They would even ask you this. They'd be like, even if you are married or dating someone, what's your ideal partner? I kid you not, they would ask you that question.
Wow.
You could tell they wanted you to potentially cheat on your spouse. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these questions. I'm like, what the hell? And usually, yes, I kid you not, they would do that. So the application process was a lot different back then.
DM Rock said that they had orgies on season 9 on the live feeds.
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember that season. That season is so underrated. It gets hated a lot. Like, I personally would recommend the season, but a lot of people, like when you look on most lists, Most lists will have that as which I think is ridiculous. It's far from the worst season of all. It's not even close. It wasn't even a bad season. That's the thing. It was actually a very good season. That season, I remember them doing some weird shit on the live feed. I remember them doing some shit where it was like licking whipped cream off each other or some shit. Or whatever. They would do. I remember there was one night on Big Brother After Dark. I don't know if you ever saw Big Brother After Dark?
No.
They had a thing they started in what season they started After Dark in? Season 8. I forgot what season they stopped it, but it used to come on. Big Brother After Dark was basically the live feeds from 12 o'clock at midnight Eastern time to 3 o'clock in the morning. If you had Showtime, they would show you live what's going on in the house.
And it was probably uncut, right?
Yeah, because I remember there was one segment in the season 9 where they had it where the girls were like fucking kissing each other and licking whipped cream off each other, whatever it is. They was doing all type of crazy crap one night on the live feeds.
Wow.
So they can show you live what's going on. It's a very underrated season. It's definitely, to me, the most underrated season in BB history because it gets way too much hate. Everybody hates it. Like, people tend to hate the season. But it was a very good because it was unpredictable. There was no controversy. The only controversy you could say was after the show, but I won't even count that because the winner had went to jail. That's really your only controversy. The person who won that season had went to jail for like drug trafficking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then one of the people that was on the show with him went to jail for as a co-conspirator or whatever.
Crazy. Wow.
Yeah. I actually met one of the people from that season one year.
Did you?
Yeah, I met the person after Big Brother 15 when I was trying out for 15. I met one of the people from that season because they were from Jersey. So they were at the New York campus. Yeah, I met her and I met you ever saw 14?
No, I didn't see 14.
Okay, there was a girl on 14 that was from New York. That was from Brooklyn that I remember meeting her that year as well.
So Miss Nappy Kid says Blue and Jag told Riley they're gonna keep her. And now she said Blue and Jag are talking to Corey to keep Riley. Are they flipping again, Miss Nappy Kid? Jeez. They can't make up their mind whether they want Riley or Cameron to go.
If people can't make up their mind, that means they're suckers players. This season's doomed. If people can't make up their mind, it's week 2.
I know. These are usually the weeks. Yeah.
Because you look at any great strategic player, they don't keep switching.
Yeah.
They might, if something comes up, they might say, all right, some new information came up. They'll at least analyze it, be like, all right, what we think here. And then they'll make a final decision and maybe they might switch. But if they switch, they ain't going back.
Yeah.
You switching back and forth literally tells me you're not that bright of a player. That's literally telling me you suck at the game.
What's going on, AT2? Thanks for hopping on. Yeah, exactly. These are usually the weeks of almost unanimous votes.
Yeah, that's you. Oh yeah, that's usually the week. But with the exception of, ever since BB 14, it's been that. Like from 15 onwards, it's always been the unanimous. Actually, even early on in old school BB, it was usually even sometimes, and even during the good seasons, the first week or two was usually unanimous. Those first couple weeks. Season 20 wasn't that way though. Season 20, I think the first 3, that's the season with Tyler.
Oh yes, season 20.
Remember the first 3 weeks all came down to one vote, and they couldn't figure out it was Tyler the whole time as the one vote.
Yeah.
I think it was. I know the first 3. It might have even been the first 4 that came down to the last vote, but we knew which way it was going every time.
Yep.
Well, they didn't, but that other half of the house did. But you knew which way as a viewer which way it was going.
Yeah.
So is it what's her name going home? The blonde chick, what's her name again?
So that's what Miss Nappy Kid is saying, that Riley at the beginning of today, everyone said that she was going to be the one they were voting out, but now she's saying that currently on the live feeds, they're campaigning to keep her again.
Who's leading the trend? Wait, so I'm gonna assume Hyson was because I remember seeing something because I try to avoid spoilers, but At least early on, I do, until I deem a season to suck.
Mhm.
But so I saw something that said Haisam was leaning. This was as soon as he won HOH. He was like, the talk was he wanted Riley gone.
Yes, and he made that clear to everybody. He told everybody. He didn't keep it a secret. He wasn't only telling his alliance. He even told her that.
Why am I telling her that?
Exactly.
Because
That's why
I
I'm
need
like-
to look at it as, what if she wins veto? Then what am I supposed to do if she wins veto and then wins HOH the following week again? I'm supposed to be like, please don't nominate me?
That's what I'm trying to say. He's smart, but he's not smart in the game.
Yeah.
He's not smart at playing Big Brother at all.
How did pick this guy? Like,
And
he's
he
clearly
said-
picked as the train wreck of the season. He's clearly picked as the loose cannon. Every season needs a loose cannon.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true.
They probably looked at this guy in the interview process, was like, all right, this guy's going to be a loose cannon.
So Jag
Let's
is
put this
leading
guy
the campaign. Right. Well, Jag is her alliance, so I'm not surprised by that. Jag and Blue.
Jag is the guy with the turban on his head, right? The guy with the
Yes.
turban? Okay. Yeah, it's like, so he's leading the charge, and then I remember seeing the post from you that they got nominated. So why did he nominate Cameron along with her? Because again, I didn't see the last two episodes, so I didn't see it. So I'm curious why he got nominated with
I
Riley.
suppose he picked Cameron because Cameron is one of her closest allies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was it Cameron? I read something that Cameron told her to shut the F up in terms of talking to everybody.
Yeah, he did. And then he also told her that he feels like he wants to hit her. And then he also said he sees her like a daughter.
Wait, but he wants what the? Wait. He said he actually said he wanted to hit her.
It's hard to even explain.
He sounds like a loose cannon.
Yeah, he's a little odd. To say
So
the least.
he hasn't rubbed anybody else the wrong way.
He has. He's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But the thing that the reason why people were picking Riley to go over him was because they were like, nobody really likes him like that. So they think that she's the one who's the more dangerous person to keep in the house.
Oh, okay. So now that Hiram made it clear, like, what exactly did he tell her? I'm curious. What did he tell her? He's like, look, I just want you gone.
Well, he was trying to tell her, he was like, I want to work with you, but the thing is, you excluded me from your big alliance that you had at the start of the game. And then he was like, I think that you guys wanted the older people out. So I wanted to work with you, but you didn't want to work with me. That's kind of what he was saying to her. And then he was saying, I've heard you put my name in your mouth, so I have to pick you to go on the block.
So did she want the older people? Was that true though? That she wanted the older people, or was that not true?
She didn't specifically say I want the older people to go, but it is true that she did not include any of them in her alliance.
I don't understand that though, because from a strategical standpoint, if it's me personally in there, I would drag a Cirie. I'm dragging a Felicia to final three because they ain't beating me in no endurance comp. I tell you that right
I
off the bat.
agree.
They're not
I have to
beating
agree.
me in an endurance comp. Why would you not want to drag those two to final three?
I actually agree.
Because think about it, part one of the HOH is always endurance, which means you get a free reign all the way to round three of the HOH
Yeah.
comp. You know you automatically in round three, and they have to stress out over who wins round two.
Yes.
It doesn't
And
make
even in
sense.
and even in the event that they beat you in the memory part at the end, it's like if you've won a whole bunch of competitions, it's not like Cirie. Well, Cirie, I might want to get rid of, but
Yeah.
if it was Felicia,
No, but yeah.
yeah,
So does she communicate with everyone? Because typically the older person typically doesn't talk too much really with everyone. Is she
Oh,
that
she
way,
does.
Felicia?
she's not that way. She talks to everybody.
Okay, because normally you look like last year, Terrence, I didn't really see talk to anybody. Like he was like,
Right. He isolated himself.
yeah, like the older people
Hi,
tend
Tammy.
to isolate themselves.
Yeah.
So
I think
now
that-
now that we established that Haisam made it clear that he wanted her gone, he won veto, right? You said?
He won the veto. Yep.
So he's won 3 of the first 4 comps, basically.
Yep.
Oh my God, this guy didn't learn. Did he watch last year?
He's pulling a Michael. He's definitely pulling
Because
a Michael.
he didn't need to win the first veto. Because as far as I know, he wasn't a target, so he didn't need to win the first veto. Did he need to win this HOH? Did anybody really had him at the top of their hit list before this
At
HOH?
that time, well,
Because did he really need to win this HOH to stay alive this week?
I could argue that he could have needed this veto because the HOH, not the veto, because the Riley side was kind of talking about him. So
it's Riley, Cameron, Jag. Jag is part of her group, right? Wasn't Jag
part of her group? Blue was part of her group. Matt was part of her group.
Matt is the guy who looked like Tyler, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And everybody else was kind of floaters. So those are the only ones that I would say were solidly part of that group.
Oh, okay.
America said she was part of that group, but we've seen that she's flip-flopping. The funny thing is, Jared was part of that group, but he's part of both groups because
Well, he's a mole, so he's the perfect mole because then he gets to tell his mom everything that's going on,
which is what is helping her in the game. Funny enough,
yeah,
she's had some bad reads on the game that he has corrected her on because of the fact that he's able to.
Wait, she's had bad reads.
She has.
I'm surprised based off of watching her in Survivor. I'm kind of somewhat, even though because Survivor socially is a similar game.
Mm-hmm.
And when I've watched her, I don't know if you watch Survivor.
I have. I do watch Survivor.
You ever watch the season she was on?
I watched one of the seasons that she was on.
Because when you watch her seasons, I think I've watched all like two or three of her seasons that she was on. And she was always usually very good strategically. And as far as like connecting with people, she always connected with people really well.
But what I'm talking about was reads on like the first couple of days. So she could have, she was there by herself. She probably would have been having more conversations. But because he was there, I think she was sitting back a little bit more.
Yeah.
And depending on his conversations and comparing notes.
Oh, okay. See, that's a good strategy.
Yeah, because I saw her on The Traders, which was earlier this year.
Oh, yeah, I remember that show. She won it, right, I heard?
She won it, and she was excellent at that. So I think but the one thing that I'm surprised about with her in this game is the flip-flopping. But I do think that might be because she's latched on to Izzy. So Izzy talks so much, it probably makes her think.
Izzy, I forgot who's Izzy again. I'm trying to remember who's Izzy.
Izzy is the one who knew the secret on the first day.
Oh yeah. Oh, now I remember. Yeah. Well, I'm surprised, Cerise, because she never flip-flop on Survivor. She was never a flip-flopper at all. She was the complete opposite of a flip-flopper.
Right.
On that show, and I've watched the season she's come on.
Right.
So when she came on was right around the time I started watching. It was a little bit before she came on. I watched maybe 2 or 3 seasons before she came on for the first time.
Oh, you did?
So let me ask you this then. Now that, all right, he won veto.
Mm-hmm.
Was it that Riley or Cameron was about to win it and he decided to win it?
I didn't actually see the veto competition, so.
Oh, because I'm wondering if he won it or possibly could have thrown it, because I'm like, winning 3 of the first 4 comps. This is almost like Christian, and this is like Michael last year and Christian, if you remember, in with the cookout in season 23.
Oh, of course I remember how he was showing off and doing the most and trying to win everything. Yep.
Yeah, like Christian was winning, like. But that whole group was winning. I think I remember Xavier winning at least 1 or 2 comps before Christian got eliminated. I think Xavier won too, but he had the cookout to back him out by doing it, so it's a little bit different.
Right.
But yeah, Christian had won I think like 66% of the comps, I believe was the number I remember hearing that he had won at the time before he got eliminated.
Right.
Like, I don't understand winning comps early. Never win a comp, period. Even if it's late in the game. Never win a comp unless it's one of 3 reasons. A, your game, you're about to go home and you needed to save your game. B, you're looking to make a big move, and obviously you need the HOH or veto to make a big move. Because it could be that your game is not in danger, but you want to make a big move.
Mm-hmm.
There's a threat. You're like, you know what? I need to get rid of this couple, or I need to get rid of this person because nobody else is going to do it. My game may not be in danger, but let me win this veto or HOH.
so I can have some power to make this move. Or C, your game is not in danger, but you win it because you're trying to prevent somebody else from winning it. Somebody who you don't want to win it, who's going to screw your game up. They may not put you up, but they might put up your closest ally or something like that. But I don't really get what he's thinking. So who started the trend now of keeping Riley now?
I'm just going to read this comment really quick.
Sure.
Jimmy said, Sari is accustomed to dealing with strategic minds. This group is so angst-ridden. They're all over the place. They are like kids on red Kool-Aid.
Well, that is kind of true. She's used to dealing because she dealt with a girl named Amanda. I remember on her season where it was very strategic. She played with Parvati, who was strategic. She played with some strong-minded females. Because Survivor tends to choose more stronger females than Big Brother. They do a way better job of choosing female players than Big Brother. Big Brother's terrible at choosing female players. Their female players all tend to be followers. Like Survivor more tends to choose a little bit more strong-minded females. So she's definitely used to, that's definitely a true statement. She's definitely more used to that. Not these freaking knuckleheads they choose on BB.
And she was talking in one of the live feeds. She was talking to Izzy and Jared, and she was like, man, like these Big Brother players are a lot more annoying for me than Survivor. That's what she was saying.
Oh, yeah, that's...
I'm so annoyed by all these Big Brother people that I'm playing with right now.
Yeah, because you mean they choose a lot of these Big Brother players. Half of them want to be like some like influencer or something, so they're not really that serious.
Yeah.
Survivor is different. You have to be serious if you go on that show.
Yes.
You can't be some person who wants to be, hey, you know what, I want to be internet famous. Let me go on Survivor. That's the wrong damn show to go on.
You can come off Survivor and still be a nobody.
Yeah. Like you have to be serious about that game because the stuff you go through, you can't not be serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to be, even if obviously not all the players are going to be good strategically, but you have to at least be serious about trying to win or at least testing yourself.
I agree, Tammy, that a lot of them are playing to the camera. AT2 says Riley and Cameron were talking about the next show they wanted to be on. Of course they were.
Next show. Wait, week 2 hasn't even finished. They haven't even been in this house 14 days and they're already talking about. Wait. Who you see do that on Survivor? Where do you be like, you know what? I can't wait to go on Love Island. Like, no one, like, you haven't even been in the game long enough to take a dump in the damn toilet. And you basically telling me you talk about what other show you want to go on?
Yeah, no, that's unacceptable.
How they choose these people?
And I heard Riley and Cameron talking earlier to AT2 about what they're gonna do afterwards, and Riley said she's gonna go back to bartending. All that.
Oh,
stuff.
she's gonna get tons of tips if she does that because then everybody's gonna know her from BB.
That's what Alyssa said happened to her.
Yeah, she'll make a ton. Job. She'll make a ton more in tips. Because that's how you make your money as a bartender. Because I used to know a girl that was a bartender, and she used to tell me exactly, all you gotta do is just flirt with the dude, act like you're somewhat interested. They start giving you more money. It's like you said, the game was easy to play. So especially with her being an attractive female, automatically she's gonna get, and the fact that she was on BB, people are gonna want to talk to her or whatever. So automatically they're gonna give her more just because of that.
Oh, don't do her like that, Tammy.
BB Alyssa, BB20. She's that bad? Alyssa was the worst player that season. Come on, she was top 3 worst player last year.
Yeah.
She can't be that. No, she's not Alyssa. She won a comp. Alyssa did not win a comp. Remember, Alyssa didn't even know what show she was on. At least Riley probably knows she's on Big Brother, I think. Alyssa, she never even came close to winning a comp, Alyssa. Think about it. She technically never won a comp the entire year.
She didn't. That's true.
So she's better than Alyssa. She's at least above Alyssa. She's above an Alyssa and an Indy. She won a comp. It might not have been the. It might not have been the. Alyssa was like It was either her or Indy that didn't know that the UK wasn't didn't know the
It
UK
was
was a part of
Alyssa.
Europe.
That was Alyssa. Yep, I remember
Wait, that was Alyssa? That was Alyssa that didn't know that?
It was Alyssa. Yep.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if it was her or Indy. I was thinking it was Indy. But
She's
I
saying in
wasn't
terms
sure.
of being scatterbrained.
so wait, so Alyssa was the one that said she thought it was part of the US?
Yeah, that was
Oh
Alyssa.
my god. How do you pick this level of stupid on the show? Like, really?
Miss Nappy Kid said Alyssa thought she was on The Bachelor.
Oh my god. The Bachelor. Yeah, she definitely thought she was on The Bachelor or Love Island.
Oh, y'all are killing me.
Or Love Island or something. Like, god damn, you talk about next level dumb. Like what? Like did they only pick her because they loved their showmances and they knew she would probably flirt one of the dudes or something? Like, was that her purpose? Her sole purpose?
She looked like she could have got with Monty when I was watching those feeds.
Oh yeah, everybody kept saying that it looked like Monty could have had it. I've heard multiple people say Monty could have probably had some.
That way. It definitely looked that way.
Like, was she drunk that night or something?
No, it was like they all went into bed together. Her, Turner, Monty, and Taylor. But she was right next to Monty.
Yeah.
And they were like cuddled up next to each other all night.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it looked that way.
To be Alyssa bad, you're basically saying this person is in the conversation of being worst player ever. But she's in that convo of worst. She has a seat at that table.
So those who are watching the feeds, is it actually looking like they're gonna vote out Cameron again? Because if so, I'm like mind blown by that.
All right, so I'm curious now. Now that after he won the veto,
I'm about to turn on the live feed actually. Yeah.
I'm curious, what has he done since he won the veto? Did he consider taking somebody off, or was there any talks of him doing it, or he was just dead set on?
He's bullheaded. No, like once he decides this is what he wants, he doesn't change his mind. He's just been sitting on his throne, like, y'all better do what I told you to do.
Oh, so who has he talked down to since you said he's talked down? Who exactly has he done it to? Because I remember Kylan doing it with Brittany 2 years ago. When he says, "No, I don't got an answer."
I know he did it to Riley. I know he's done it to Matt.
Matt in terms of, oh yeah, Matt is the guy, the blonde guy, right?
Yeah, the blonde, and
that makes no sense. How are you talking down to people that could potentially be here? That's going to be here. Makes no sense.
It makes no sense. But he was telling Matt, if you happen to win the power of veto and save Riley, I'm going to put you on the block. That's what he was telling Matt.
Yeah, but that's stupid because if he wins veto, you can't put up the veto winner.
That's true. I don't understand why he said that.
That makes no sense if he said that, because you can't put up the veto winner. You're protected if you're the veto winner.
Yeah.
That's always been the rule. Because the way the veto used to work was that you couldn't save yourself, but you could save someone else.
Yeah.
And then they changed it late in season 3. They changed it.
So you could win the veto and still go home before.
No, you couldn't get nominated, I don't believe, but you just couldn't save yourself.
If you were on the block, you couldn't.
You couldn't save yourself. Yeah.
But if you weren't on the block, you couldn't be nominated.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, I got you.
But so why would he tell him that? Like, this guy's, as an older person, he's the third or fourth oldest person in this house.
And Riley said that Riley said that in the episode. She was like, "Why am I arguing with a 45-year-old?"
Like,
she's in her like mid-20s or something, early 20s.
Yeah. So I'm curious now, did anybody try to convince him to maybe change his mind, or nobody didn't even waste their time?
Nah, they were not trying to convince him. They were like, we're just trying to figure out the thing with the voting with everybody else.
All right, so who first brought up keeping Riley?
Maybe it was Jag. I'm not sure. Somebody could tell me who the first person was. Tammy says no, they're gonna send her home. Riley put a target on Izzy and Sari. He told Matt he'd be the next on the block. How did Riley put a target on Izzy and Cirie? Yeah,
So
I'm not sure, Milkman, who the first person was
Okay.
to lead that campaign.
because I was thinking maybe it's a Cirie. I was like, all right, it got to be somebody strategic. So it just popped in my head like maybe Cirie maybe was like, let's keep her. Is she close with her?
It might have been. It might have been because I remember that Cirie and Izzy were talking yesterday, I think it was, and saying that they're worried about Hisam's reaction if they don't send home his pick.
Why would they be worried about his reaction when he can't compete for veto? And
Yeah.
I don't understand this whole giving a rat's ass, well, excuse my language, giving a you know what about what the HOH thinks. Could we go back to the days of not, if you watch the old school, it was all about screwing over the HOH back in the day. It was like, all right, how can we screw over the HOH? Everybody tried to look for a way to screw. Nobody was like, all right, you know what, we can't screw over the HOH. People had a more like, I don't give a you know what attitude.
Yeah.
Was like, all right, screw the HOH one, it's about what I want.
Yeah.
If they could get the numbers, if they thought they could get the numbers, it would be like, all right, let's make the move.
Right. Because the only thing the HOH can do is nominate.
Yeah,
The
Because
House
it's like-
still decides.
yeah, because it's like in season 10, for instance. You remember? Oh, you watched that?
Yep.
Remember with Memphis? Memphis was technically
Yep.
supposed to go home the week that Jesse went. And
Yep.
it was that girl, the girl they voted off in the Keisha. She was the one who came up with the idea, like, yo, let's screw this whole plans up. Because she knew what the plan was. She's like, yo, screw the plan. Let's keep Memphis. And she was the one that led the charge to keep Memphis. Which is why she lost her crap on the live feeds that year. Because she lost it in the live feeds. Because obviously, I don't think you didn't see that season live, right?
I didn't see that live, no.
She lost it on the live feeds. She lost it on Big Brother After Dark when she realized when she made it to Final Four and she realized she was going to get voted out. She realized I forgot how she figured it out. Because I think I was doing something while it was coming on, and then I missed a few minutes, and somehow she figured out that she was going to get voted off in a couple of days, and she lost it on the live feeds. They were like hiding in the bedroom, and she was like going off.
Wow, that's
Like-
crazy.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember the old guy Jerry was just like sitting down, like doing nothing, and the two of them I think were like in the HOH room, and they locked the door or whatever because she figured out that she was going home, and it was like, what the hell? So you may not remember who the first person is, but who was like the first group of people you saw bringing up the Let's Keep Riley campaign?
Well, like I said, I do know that Cirie and Izzy were thinking that they wanted to keep Riley, but I know that the people that were in her corner prior to that were definitely Jag and Blue and Matt.
Okay,
Jag and
Jag.
Blue and Matt want to keep her because they're part of her team.
Oh, you see what Tammy said? She says she's telling everyone that they are the leaders of the other side.
Yeah, she is. Whenever she has conversations with people, she does bring up Cirie and Izzy as the leaders of the other side.
Okay, so I'm curious on this. Does anybody know about the relationship between Cirie besides Izzy? With
Not
Cirie
that-
and
not
Jared?
that we've heard of, no.
Nobody's figured it. I thought people figured. I thought somebody told me somebody figured. I could have swore I was told that some people in the house knew.
If they do, I haven't seen that yet.
Okay.
They might.
Because here's the thing that makes no sense to me is that two people have made dumb decisions. What's the guy that went to I hate bringing up this term, the nether regions? It makes me want to hurl every time I hear the crap. Was it Corey that first went on the first? Yeah, him. Remember he went up to Cirie on episode 2 and was like, oh my God, I watched you play. And I'm like, why would I be bringing up that you were such a strategic mastermind?
Yep.
Like, I could be like, hey, I watched one of your seasons or whatever, but I'm going to be like, act like I was a casual fan. I remember that girl. I'll be like, hey, I remember that girl Amanda that was on your season that was with Ozzy. She was hot. Is she single? That'll be me. And just no, I would play it off like if I was just a casual fan.
Yep.
And I really didn't like intensely watch it. just to make her think I'm like, all right, if you did that, I could see that. But that didn't make any sense. So I'm surprised. Does she have him and Izzy on her target list? Since Izzy knows that secret, and that's not a good thing. She has to get rid of her before that blows up.
She definitely has him on her target list. She said that. Not right now, but she definitely has him in mind. And then Izzy, she hasn't really explicitly said that, but she did mention it to Jared when Jared said that Izzy was getting too emotional. Cirie was like, let her get emotional. Then the house is going to target her.
No, but here's the thing. Yeah, go on. You said that.
I don't think that Cirie wants to be known as the one who's targeting her because of the fear of her secret getting exposed. Yeah,
that's the thing, is that I think what will happen, her best way of getting her out, this is how I would approach it if I'm her. If I'm putting myself in her shoes, this is the best way. You got to have somebody else do it. If somebody else that she's close to, which I don't know who she's close to because I only watched the first 2 episodes. If somebody she knows is close with her, I mean, wins 8-8, I would be like, look, if I know I could trust him, I might take the risk and be like, look, what do you think? And that person mentions Izzy, like, hey, I'm Cirie, I'm thinking of putting up Izzy. I would be like, you know what, that's a good option. I would come up with some reason why I think it's a good option, or I would just have that person tell me, and then I'll be like, you know what, you're correct.
Yeah.
Because that's her way of doing it, because otherwise she needs to find a way to get somebody else to do it.
Yes, exactly.
She needs yeah. Because the moment she takes a shot, she's screwed. She has to, the first crack she gets, if she could get a Felicia to do it, because is Felicia her closest ally?
It seems so. Like outside of Jared,
obviously, is Felicia her closest? Because normally I'm assuming the older people are going to stick together most likely.
It seems that's who she hangs out with and talks with the most outside of him, yeah.
Okay, so I'm assuming she's talking to everyone too as well?
Felicia? Yeah, definitely.
No, not Felicia.
Cirie?
Yeah. Okay. Is there anybody kind of like who's isolated themselves the most?
Jag and Blue are going to everyone except Brown Sugar and Red. Really?
Wait, who's Brown Sugar?
Brown Sugar.
Wait, that Nicole?
It's one of the alliances.
Oh, okay.
I know it has Felicia. It has Cirie, Jared. Does it have Jared? Shoot.
Oh, that's the name of an alliance. I thought that was a nickname for somebody.
No. Felicia and Mimi. It's gonna be hard for Cirie to campaign for Izzy to leave and pretend to campaign to keep her at this. Yeah, she's gonna be in the middle. She has to try to play like she wants to save her.
No, what? Yeah. I think how she has to do it is this. She has to just go to the HOH and just get them to do it somehow. Get some. Let's just say it's Felicia, for instance, and then she goes to Izzy and it's like, you know what? Damn, it's screwed up. We gotta find a way. If I win veto, I'm gonna see if I could take. I'm gonna throw veto. Act like if she's gonna throw it to her or something, so it makes it look like if she's looking out for her back, looking out for her, when in reality she's not.
Yes, like she's not even trying to win the veto.
Yeah.
And tell Jared like, don't win the veto.
Yeah. She'd be like, yo, you know, if me or Jared win it, we'll try to save you or whatever it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it would be good if the House votes were mostly against her, but they were like, nah, we're gonna vote for you.
Like, wait, what do you mean? Oh, and act like
if it happens to be that they all last to jury for the sake of jury management, because imagine Izzy being pissed off at them and being in the jury house. But the flip side of the coin is, if she told the secret and they went out instead of her, they would tell all her business in the jury house.
Wait, who would tell her business out in the jury house?
Cirie and Jared.
Oh.
Like if it happened to be that all three of them managed to make it to jury.
Yeah. To me, if I'm a Cirie, you got to get her out before jury. You have to get her out before jury.
I feel the same way. You can't have her in your house.
Because the reason why I personally, now maybe you might have a different reason to me, but anybody can nominate her. Oh, so she's like then, Izzy?
What I think America then is saying is that getting her nominated is not the hard part. It's how would you campaign?
Oh
without
yeah.
exposing yourself.
It's like almost it's almost like you gotta manipulate. I like to call it the Dr. Will strategy, the manipulate people and shit. You gotta do that. That's really your only way. It's just you just gotta choose your word. You just gotta choose who you talk to carefully now.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at it, it's one of those things where if you're like me personally, if you're Cirie, the reason why I personally feel if you're Cirie or Jared, because they're both in the same boat, the reason why you have to get rid of her, Izzy, before jury, is because otherwise the only legit shot you have of winning the game is you both gotta get to final two. Yep. Because a lot of people are not gonna vote for you because they're gonna be like which is true, you had an unfair advantage. You had a family member in the game when nobody else did.
Yep.
Because who wouldn't, let's be honest, I would be pissed if I was on the show and I'm like, hold up, you got a family member. I didn't have that.
Of course.
And that's a huge advantage when you have a family member or someone that you know. So a lot of people, right or wrong, whether some people may feel it's wrong, but a lot of people aren't going to want it. You're going to lose at least a couple of jury votes based off of that alone. Unless you go up against somebody who's extremely hated, that would almost be your only way, besides going to the finals together, which they would have no choice at that point. But let's just say only one of them got there. I think the only way you would win is you would have to go up against whoever would be the most hated person in the house. Let's just say it's a Hassan. Like how you said he's talked down to people. I could see people being like, you know what? I might not like the advantage they had, but at least they didn't talk down to me.
Exactly.
Like, that's why, to me, personally, you can't have them. Do you have a different reason to me of why you can't have her in jury? Is your reason different to mine?
Well, no, yeah, my reason is different. I was just thinking that her in the jury house, you don't know what she could potentially say, and she's very emotional.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if she would hold their secret to the grave, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay. So it's like, so right now you would say she's the most emotional person in the house so far.
The most? She's up there, yeah. Jared's not really keeping Riley. He won't break it with his mom at this point. America then said, ideally, Cirie and Jared won't have anything to do with her eviction. I think they need Izzy and Jerry to campaign for them in the end, which Izzy would sing their praises.
Yeah. But I don't really think that would work. Like, you got to be real influential. Like nobody's really going to listen to any one particular person in a jury. Typically, you might influence one person, but that's usually when you have like a showmance type thing. Mm-hmm. Where you could get someone to, like, put it this way, like Alyssa last year was always going to vote whichever way Kyle told her to vote. Mm-hmm. That's really where you more influence a vote, is more like that. It's more in a showmance situation where the one person where you got Dumb and Dumber, and Dumber will just do whatever Dumb says, which is basically last year. Because you knew whichever way Kyle said, because he would be the dumb in this group, and she'd be the dumber. You knew whichever way he voted, she was going to vote the same way. Like, so does Hassan have any idea that people are potentially thinking? So he has no idea.
It's seeming like no. It seems like he's kind of has a blind spot to what's going on around him.
Does he not talk to people?
He's just sitting on his high chair in the HOH room.
He's just too busy on his throne. So he's too busy on his throne to not talk to people.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
All the conversations he seems to be having are mostly from the standpoint of like, I'm the HOH, do what I say, instead of listening to see what other people are talking about. I feel like he doesn't even know the house has flipped like 4 times.
Like, your HOH, it should be easy for you to get info.
Yes.
Because you know what everybody's thinking. you could more get what people think like, hey, who do you think I should nominate? And
Tammy
then
says
you
a
know-
three-way tie on emotion. Izzy, Riley, and Hassam.
Hassam just creeped me out.
That's funny.
No,
He
she
does-
had that weird stare when Luke had his moment. When Luke had his incident and you saw Hassam in the background with that look that he gave was absolutely like I'm looking at him like, what is he doing? Like, what type
And
of
he
look
tried to
is that?
claim that he didn't hear it.
Because if you notice, he technically had that look before Luke said what he said. He technically had that look before.
Yep.
And he just has that weird stare. And I'm like, what is wrong with him?
Really, Red keeps running to him to spill the tea. Interesting.
Red, I forgot. Red is that guy with the big beard, right?
Yes.
Okay. I forgot he was on the show.
They hardly show him, so.
Okay, well, then again, I've only watched the first 2 episodes, so I forgot about him. What about that chick who's also like the 3rd or 4th oldest chick on the show? The chick from Australia. How's she
Bowie,
been? Wait, that's
she's been
Chloe?
doing pretty good.
She's been one non-existent too? Let me guess. No TV time.
Not much.
Oh, that's
Do you
usually a
think
good thing.
Vitriol towards Riley is justified. I definitely don't think it is justified. She has not done that much to him to make him that angry.
Like, I'm curious. Somebody mentioned how that girl who got kicked out the first week, she felt ostracized. Was that true?
I haven't seen any. I mean, I'm sure maybe she said that afterwards because she's already on Instagram and stuff, but I haven't seen anything of it.
Oh, okay.
No. But I know that Haitham said in today's episode, he was like, Riley, you caused the whole house to divide and people didn't interact with each other because of you. Like, he blamed so much stuff on her. And apparently some of it was cut out as well. Because he apologized profusely for whatever he said in the veto meeting.
Holy. Oh, damn. And that veto meeting is Monday because that's typically how they usually do the vetoes on Monday.
Yeah, so he kept apologizing for the last 2 days, and I saw it, and I'm like, it didn't sound that bad. But from what people are saying, there was a lot more to what he said, but production cut.
Yeah, and that's what I don't like. How are you going to keep claiming this whole 24/7 BS? But every time there's a veto meeting, there's birds or whatever animal they put up on the screen.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a veto comp, you see the whatever animal on the screen. They say certain words, it'll be like certain, like in All-Star version. I heard whenever they mentioned Derek's name, they immediately would cut the feed or cut to a different. Yeah, because I remember there was controversy with Derek doing that preseason alliance thing on that season on All-Star. Yeah, because there was talks of him doing that year, like before calling up to see who. Because I remember hearing one time Janelle mention his name, and then they said as soon as Janelle mentioned his name and said 1 or 2 things, they cut it not too long afterwards.
Okay.
Because there was the rumor that he called everybody, and that's why Janelle was targeted on that season. Was that she didn't tell him he was going on, or whatever it is, because he was calling to see who got the call.
Excuse me.
Oh, bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think being the nominated and being the target automatically creates some level of ostracization. I don't think Kirsten was ostracized any more than any other target.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't really necessarily feel that way either. Yeah. And then I also said that I feel like she had the problem of not creating a main alliance.
Yeah.
Because you can create as many alliances as you want as long as you have a main one.
Yeah. You always have your side alliances.
Yeah.
It's like you had the Cookout had their main alliance of their core 6.
Yes.
But then you had Kylan, Tiffany, and Xavier had that side. I forgot what they called that alliance they had with Christian.
Right.
And
exactly.
I forgot what was that side alliance that Tiffany spilled the beans about in the bathroom. Because she could keep her damn mouth shut.
Yeah.
I still gotta watch that Hannah interview. Did you ever ask her about that moment when Tiffany spilled the bean?
No, I didn't ask her about that part.
Oh, okay. Because I remember one of the episodes, she automatically kind of spilled it, accidentally spilled it in the bathroom when they talked.
And Hannah was like, "Who's that?"
Yeah, that's when Hannah realized, like, oh shit, crap, they got an alliance.
Yeah, I did ask her how she felt about not being included in the cookout at first.
Wait, she wasn't?
No, I mean, like they were working with her, but they didn't tell her the name the cookout,
Oh, okay.
and they didn't include her in any of the decisions that they were making early on.
Oh, okay.
So then I think she said week 3 is when they finally were like, "Oh, you're part of the cookout."
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I still gotta. I gotta watch that video.
Yeah.
Wait, did you release the full Turner? I saw you had a clip with Turner. Did you release the full video with Turner yet?
No, I'm releasing that on Saturday.
Oh, okay. I'm still trying to figure out how he got to a funny.
She said that, wait, American then says Kirsten's biggest oops was the convo she had with Hisam about the Matt Riley triangle. Hisam repeated everything to Riley.
Wait, what about the convo she had with because again I didn't watch the live feed, but what about that convo she had with when she told when she made that alliance with Jared? That kind of screwed her over too, because then that screwed her over with Jared, Felicia, and Cirie. Because remember, she tried to make those side alliances with Cirie and Felicia, and then Jared went back to Cirie and told him like, "Yo, she just made an alliance."
Yeah, the Fair
So that-
or whatever it's called. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a mistake. That was a problem too, because Cirie actually trusted Kirsten at first.
Yeah.
Because of Kirsten going to Felicia and her and being like, I don't want the older people to go out.
Yeah.
And I want to stick with you two.
Yeah, that was a smart move.
Yeah. But then the problem was Jared was like, I don't trust her.
You see, the thing was that you see, I can't really fault her for that, only because she didn't know Jared. If that was anybody else, you're right. It wouldn't have backfired on her, because he would have still had us. If it was, let's just say Jared had no relationship with Cirie,
yes,
they probably would have. He probably doesn't run back to tell Cirie.
Yes,
and then most likely, and then she has all 3 of them voting for her.
And that actually screwed over Riley as well, having Jared part of that group and not knowing that he was a mole.
Yeah.
So you're right. Like, that's a cheat code.
Oh, I love The Mole too. You ever watch that show, The Mole?
I did watch The Mole. Yep.
Oh, I love that show. Do you know they're bringing it back for a second season? I mean, Netflix is bringing it back.
Yep, I heard that.
See, I would love to try. Huh?
And the guy who won?
Yeah, Matt. I think it was Matt. What's his name?
At times, I was like, yeah, this guy's got to be the mole. But then at other times, I was like, nah, that, he seems pretty honest.
No, he was one of the few people I never suspected being the mole. The reason why I personally never suspected him, and there was 1 or 2 other people in the show I never suspected. There was maybe like 3 people where I never suspected him being the mole. That guy who was like an Indian or Arab, I believe he was. I can't remember his name. Punab, I think was his name. Yeah. He was like Indian or something like. I never suspected him, and I never suspected the guy who won. The reason why, they played too hard. Nobody's playing that. Nobody who's the mole. He tried hard on every comp to win. That's why I was like, yo, there's no way he's the mole, because he tried too hard.
Yeah.
So I never suspected him. Or I never suspected the girl who had the blonde hair. I forgot her. The girl who was like older, I forgot her name. Because it was 2 blondes, but the older one. I never suspected her either, because they all played too hard.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would love to try out that.
Yeah, I'm about to head to bed. Got work in the AM. But thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And thanks everyone for tuning in. And we'll definitely catch up tomorrow. I know Retro's coming on after the Thursday veto episode. I mean, the Thursday eviction episode. I'll be on at some point after the episode as well. So.
Okay.
All right.
I saw you had a video, but I didn't watch it. Did you talked something about you can't show live feeds anymore?
Yeah, I can't show live feeds anymore. They gave me a warning, and they said the next time, if they catch it, they give me a copyright strike.
Oh, okay.
So unfortunately, that's over for me.
Oh, okay. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Take care and have a good night.
All right, have a good night, Mark.
Okay, you too.
All right.